Over her last few films, writer-director Nia DaCosta has shown that she has a knack for updating projects with a particular flair. Her 2021 Candyman was an intriguing blend of sequel and remake that updated this 90s horror icon into the present with themes of racism, classism, and gentrification. 2023's The Marvels came at a time when MCU movies were, by and large, dark and gloomy, and made a superhero film that embraced fun and playfulness. In just a few months, DaCosta will once again put her mark on a horror franchise with 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, picking up from Danny Boyle's 28 Years Later. But before that, DaCosta has taken on the grand task of breathing new life into Henrik Ibsen's classic play, Hedda Gabler. Hedda, setting the story over a single party full of clever gender swaps, queer jealousy, and ambiguity. It's an ambitious adaptation, maybe DaCosta's grandest challenge yet, but Hedda is a compelling concept undone by its lacking execution.
Tessa Thompson's Hedda Gabler wants to watch the world burn.
Right away, DaCosta's Hedda begins with the change, as we find Hedda Gabler being questioned about a gun that went off the night before. In our introduction to our titular character, we can already tell she's sly, playful, and not all that concerned with the gunplay that has transpired. Yet it's a strange choice for DaCosta, as after this moment we will return to the night of the crime. And even though the film wants to be engrossing because of its forward momentum, we now know where this is all heading. As we flash back to the night of the party that ended in a gunshot, we find Hedda, who has recently become Hedda Tesman, in her lavish home, gifted to her by her new husband, the relatively lame George Tesman. The party is not only an opportunity for the newlywed couple to show off their home, but also a chance for George to impress Professor Greenwood and land a university professorship. Yet with Hedda at the head of this party, things aren't going to be nearly that simple. Hedda loves chaos, particularly creating it for her own amusement. While George's bourgeoisie guests are too stuffy for Hedda's liking, she balances this out with her own lively guests from her wilder single days. One such guest is Eileen Lovborg, originally a male character in Ibsen's play, who has a romantic history with Hedda, and who is vying for the position George is gunning for. Eileen has authored a new manuscript about sexuality with her co-author and new love interest, Thea Clifton, who is also at the party. On top of all this, Hedda is having another fling with Judge Roland Brack. She's been left a box full of guns by her father and wants to make this night as interesting as possible. As the drinks flow, the music blares, and gossip spreads, Hedda makes sure this is a party that none of her guests will ever forget.
Hedda is a clever take on a classic that doesn't entirely work. DaCosta's script is a skillful update in some ways, but it holds back this narrative in others. It's attempting to be modern and classical at the same time, and this balance doesn't always come together as evenly as one would hope. In many ways, for every smart choice Hedda makes, there's another weaker one to balance it out. Hedda wants to be a tense melodrama that escalates to a breaking point, but the slack pacing, in addition to showing us how this all ends in the long run, undercuts its traction. The film quickly becomes a sequence after sequence of Hedda doing the most devilish thing she can think of in her situation, with some sexual double entendres thrown in for good measure. However, Thompson and this screenplay never bring any depth or understanding to this character whatsoever. She's an agent of chaos, and that's where she begins and ends. This isn't a character that necessarily needs an explanation for her actions, but rather she who lacks an interiority to make her feel like a fully realized person. Thompson is decent as Hedda, performing her actions with a knowing smile and a coy stare at those she's hurting, but she feels out of her element. Maybe it's because she's asked to pull off a British accent that never quite works, or that her intentions are so blatantly obvious, but Thompson does what she can to stay afloat and mostly stays at the surface. Hedda seems to exist in that strange Baz Luhrmann brand of modernization, with songs that don't fit the time period but work for the scene if you don't know any better. Even odder is the score by Oscar-winning composer Hildur Gudnadottir, which integrates loud gasps into the music, as if to remind the audience that something shocking or uncouth has just happened. It's a choice that only gets sillier the more it progresses, and almost reminds me of the Yellow Jackets score, where this choice is far more apt for the story.
Nina Haas steals the show in Hedda.
Yet Hedda's biggest shift is also its best, as it speaks to how well this film can make its modernization work. Eileen. Hedda's most stunning shot comes with Eileen's arrival, as DaCosta beautifully uses a double dolly shot, making Hedda seemingly float through her party guests to see her former flame, almost as if it's the only time in the entire film when Hedda isn't in control. Nina Hoss as Eileen is the true standout here, effectively bringing to life the extreme frustration at finally getting where she wants to be in life, only to be in danger of having it all taken away from her. It's a commanding and honest performance that breathes much-needed life into every scene Nina Hoss is in, making the film feel, at times, like Eileen's story. The rest of Hedda's supporting cast isn't as lucky as Hoss, unfortunately. Bateman primarily exists to show how unworldly he is, and therefore a poor choice to be with Hedda. Imogen Poots, who seems to be the only person aware of what Hedda is capable of, begins to fall by the wayside as Hoss becomes more central to the story. Worst of all, however, is Catherine Hunter, who works in the kitchen during the party and despite a few quick appearances, is completely underutilized in this take. Hedda's update has some genuinely sharp ideas in how to bring this story to a new generation, but it promises more than it can cohesively present. For example, Hedda mixes the wealthy class with the bohemians at her party, but the film doesn't say anything deeper than that both sides like to have a good time. DaCosta turns this story into a gorgeous treacle to look at, with beautiful cinematography by Sean Bobbitt, incredible production design by Kara Brower, and impressive art direction by Andrew Ackland Snow, but without enough depth and substance. In this portrayal, Hedda Gabler's story is little more than a character wanting to watch chaos reign. As Ibsen's play has shown, even a century after its writing, this is still a story with life in it, and DaCosta's take modernizes it in deft ways. However, the questionable way DaCosta's film goes about it doesn't do the story justice, making this a party that fizzles out long before the last guest has left. Hedda screened at the Virginia Film Festival. It is now playing in select theaters and comes to Prime Video on October 29th.